Just about ready to drop the whole subframe now. I'm just going to go through all the bolts and stuff that you'll need to remove. So starting with the steering rack, there is a 13mm pinch bolt in behind this rubber gaiter. So you can remove that, and then as the subframe comes down it should lift off these splines with a bit of a wiggle. On either side you've got one bolt up in here holding the sort of shocker plate to the chassis. I think that's a 17mm. You've then got another one that's on a stud from the subframe here. That's a 17 as well. I just had to cut that off. You then have next to that, that is it was a 21 on this side. I think they're 22s, but this is just rusted down to 21. You've then got two 18s here, and you obviously need to get the torsion bars. These are 27, these nuts. They can be quite hard to free up in here, so plenty of heat, a lot of sort of WD-40 releasing sort of sprays should help with that. And then once you get them somewhat loose, you'll have a bit of movement in this arm, and you can just sort of pop them out of here. And then at this point, you can see the whole subframe is loose and ready to go. There you go, you can see that stud better at this side. So as I say, that's a 22mm, and then this had a 17, a nut on that stud, and that stud is part of the subframe. So this sort of plate should drop with the shocker, and to remove the plate from the shocker, you just take off this nut here. So I'm going to try clean up these plates, but I might have to get some replacement ones because they're quite bad. But the plan here, this is a hell of a weight, this entire subframe. So we're going to try lower the van down towards the ground. Then we'll get a couple of trolleys here and here that we can lower the subframe down onto. And then once it's down there, I've already got all the bolts that I just mentioned loose. So I'll just need to wind them right off and pry the steering rack off of that UJ. And then we should be free, and we'll have it on the trolley. We'll get the van back up in the air, and we can just hopefully push the subframe out of the way. Because to be honest, most of this is scrap. Alright, so as you can see, full subframe assembly is now off the van. It's not actually too bad a job as long as you have some kind of method for letting the subframe sort of lower down safely, because this really is a heavy assembly. Luckily in this instance the van's on the lift, so it's quite useful just to move it up and down as I sort of played around with the bolts. So what I've done is I've put all the bolts back in from where they came from, just to show it a little bit more. So let's say you've got two here, one big one here, and then another one here. You've obviously got the same at that side, so 1, 1, 2 in there. You also had the torsion bars, as I mentioned before, they just sort of hook into these two holes here. And then obviously with the steering, all you have to do is undo that UJ. These are both 13mm. And you might have seen in the time lapse, I just had to basically just get a pry bar in here and just pry that UJ off. But yeah, that's it really. My chassis legs they're not looking too bad. They need a good clean up, but they seem to be solid. I think they should be fine once I clean them up, so happy days. And obviously this subframe, like I say, is probably just going to sit in the scrap pile. There might be some bolts and stuff that I take off it, like I might keep the drive shafts just as spares, just in case. It's sort of like this bolt here for the gearbox mount. The steering rack as well is good, so I'll probably keep a hold of that. But other than that, things like the brakes and stuff, I'm never going to use these again, so they can safely go. So this is the subframe assembly that I'll be swapping it over to. It's in slightly better nick. Once I give all this a clean up, it should be decent. But this is off of a later van. And as far as I'm aware, the subframe itself is the same, but I believe the arms are slightly different in that they're a little bit wider to give the van a wee bit more of a stance at the front. The brakes are pretty much new. It's got new calipers, new pads. The discs are new as well. They've just obviously not seen the road for a while, so developing a wee bit of surface rust, but we've got the shafts and stuff there as well. So basically the plan is to rebuild this subframe nice with all new sort of poly bushes and stuff like that. Just give it a clean and a paint, and yeah, we'll get it back on the van at some point. Yeah, that was just a quick video just to basically show how to get that off of that. If you did find this video useful, please give it a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.